The portrait in room 213. A story of obsession, memory, and the shadows that art can hold. No one stayed in room 213 for more than a night. At least, that's what the staff at the old Marigold Hotel used to say. They joked that the wallpaper peeled in protest, that the lights flickered when someone dared to sleep there. But they never spoke about the painting, not out loud. The portrait hung directly across from the bed. A woman's face, half turned toward the viewer, her eyes sharp and alive even under layers of dust. There was no signature, no record of who painted her. Only a small brass plate beneath it, engraved with a single word, Clara. When Evelyn Ross, a young art historian, checked into the hotel that winter night, she was told all the other rooms were full. 213 is fine, she said, smiling, unaware that the receptionist's hand trembled as he slid her the key. She'd come to the city for an art exhibit, seeking rest and inspiration. But when she entered her room, something about the portrait stopped her mid-step. It was beautiful, hauntingly so. The woman's expression was sorrowful, almost pleading, and Evelyn could swear those painted eyes followed her every move. That night, she couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard a faint scraping sound, like brushstrokes against canvas. When she looked up, the portrait seemed different. The woman's hand had moved, now resting over her heart. Evelyn laughed nervously. "It's just the lighting," she told herself. But curiosity is a dangerous thing for people who study art. By morning, she was determined to know who Clara was. She asked the hotel manager, an older man with clouded eyes, but his answer was soft and strange. "That painting's been there since before I was born. We've tried to take it down. Never could. The last man who touched it, he quit the next day, said he heard her whisper his name." Evelyn smiled politely, though her hands had already begun to shake. That night, she took her camera and set it up to record the painting. Midnight came. The lights flickered once, twice. Then the scraping began again. In the dim glow, she saw it, the woman's head turning, ever so slightly, toward the camera. The next frame showed her lips moving. No sound, just the faintest movement, as though she were mouthing a word. Evelyn replayed it a dozen times before realizing what it was. Help. Heart racing. She reached for the painting, whispering, "Who are you?" The room grew cold. The air shimmered. And suddenly, she was no longer standing in a hotel. She was inside the portrait. The walls were painted gold, and the woman, Clara, stood before her alive, trembling, her eyes wet with terror. "He trapped me here," Clara whispered. "The painter. He said beauty shouldn't fade, and so he captured mine." Outside, a figure in a black coat raised a dripping brush, his eyes hollow, endless. Evelyn screamed, reaching for the frame that had become her only exit. But the brush was faster. It touched her arm, and the world turned to color, oil, and silence. The next morning, the hotel maid entered room 213 to clean. The bed was empty, the camera still recording. But the portrait now showed two women, one staring out in horror, the other smiling faintly behind her. And if you ever visit the Marigold Hotel, they'll tell you, don't stay in room 213, because sometimes, late at night, you'll hear the faint scrape of a brush against the canvas, and a whisper from the wall that says, "There's room for one more."